super fun recipe for our Thanksgiving Day video. This is also our sweet recipe for the week. We're going to be making Pumpkin King pumpkin pie from the Nightmare Before Christmas cookbook. This is a surprisingly complex recipe for a pop culture type cookbook, and it's really good and it's very different. It's not just a normal pumpkin pie. So first thing we're going to do is make the crust, and I've got about 1 3/4 cups of ground ginger snap cookies. So instead of a graham cracker crust or something like that, we're using ginger snaps, and we're going to go ahead and just put that in. This is about 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. This is a tablespoon of flour and a little bit of salt. And then this is melted butter. So similar to sort of like the crust you'd make for like a key lime pie or something like that, but instead of using graham crackers, we're using the ginger snap cookie. And we're just going to mix this all up until it gets incorporated. You want the texture of your pie crust mix to be something like wet sand in texture, so something like that. And we're going to go ahead and just put this in. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this now, and you want to push down fairly hard. You want this to really get compact so that it forms a really solid crust once it's baked. And here is our packed ginger snap crust. The cookbook picture has it as a crimped crust. I am not skilled enough to know how to do that. So if you know how to do that, I'd be super curious to do with a graham cracker crust as opposed to a dough, like a pie dough crust. So if you know how to do that, please let me know, because I would love to know how to do that with this sort of crust. But now we're going to take this and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes to get the crust to set. To make the pie filling, I've got a large mixing bowl here, and we're going to mix our primary dry ingredients. So I've got 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And we're just going to whisk those all together so that they get uniform and try to get a lot of those big lumps out of there. All right, we've got 1/4 cup of heavy cream going into the filling next. And then we've got a full cup of whole milk. And we're just going to whisk that up to combine all these ingredients. Until we get it nice and smooth. Now, we've got a full cup of pumpkin puree. And this is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, as well as a full teaspoon of cinnamon, nutmeg, and coriander. And once again, we're just going to mix all this up until it's nice and smooth. In the previous segment, I said coriander. I meant ginger. Please do not put coriander in your pie filling. The last bit we're going to add to the filling here is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. All right, we're ready to fill and bake our pie. So go ahead and just pour your filling out into the pie crust that we made earlier. Use a spatula to get a bunch of that filling out. Be surprised at how much clings to the bowl. And then this is going to go into the oven at 350 for about 30 to 40 minutes. The ganache is super easy. I've brought 1/2 cup of heavy cream to a boil, and now we've got 1/2 cup of dark chocolate chips. And off of heat, we're just going to put those chips in, and we're going to swirl this around until the chocolate dissolves into the cream. And that's going to make what we're going to use to make Jack Skellington's eyes and mouth. Real quick, just to show you what the consistency should look like. Nice, silky smooth chocolate ganache. And the reason we're going to chill it is to get it to be a little bit thicker in consistency for when we pipe it. All right, we are going to make our maple whipped cream to go on top of our pie. This is 2 cups of heavy cream that I put in here. We're going to whip this to soft peaks. We are just about the soft peak stage here. So now we're going to go ahead and put in 1/2 cup of confectioner sugar or icing sugar. And then we're going to put in You can do this to taste, but I'm going to put in about 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup. I'm using actual maple syrup. There's a lot of, especially in the American market, a lot of weird stuff out there that's not actually maple syrup. So I don't know if that will work. That's why I'm using real maple syrup. So we're going to go ahead and now whip this up to stiff peaks for frosting our pie. I took our pie out of the fridge. You can see it's nicely baked with a nice solid center there. And we've got our whipped cream here. And now we're just going to put this whipped cream all the way across the top, sort of the orange part of the pie here, to completely cover it and give ourselves a white surface, which will obviously be Jack's head. The pie is frosted with the whipped cream, and I've tried to get the surface as smooth as possible. Now, I don't know about you, I am not a pastry chef. I'm definitely not an expert with using a piping bag to do things accurately. So we're going to do Jack's face, but what I like to do, particularly with whipped cream, it's easy to do this, is I will sketch it out with the backside of the knife. I'll sketch it out in the whipped cream because if I mess it up, then I can just smooth it out and start over in that area again. So I'm going to sketch out, we're going to do a mouth that goes around with stitches and noses and 2 eyes, and then we will use that sort of sketch to guide our piping later on. You can see the sort of stencil I've cut out for myself here of Jack Skellington's face. I'm going to use a squeeze bottle, and it helps to have a knife in case you need to cut the frosting as it comes out, or the ganache as it comes out, to make it straight edged here. So we'll just get started. And once you start moving, you really want to keep going in a straight line and try not to wobble. And this is where the knife comes in handy, because I can just snip the end. There we go. And now I'm going to continue on with this. We're going to start adding these stitches across his mouth. You can see again here. And I'm going to continue on with this, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. And here we go. I think this came out really good, especially because I'm just some dude who's following recipes in a cookbook. And like I said, no professional chef or anything here. I welcome tips in the comments on how I could make the ganache a little smoother. But overall, I think this came out pretty good. I think it looks like Jack Skellington. And the recipe is a little different. It's not just an ordinary pumpkin pie with some whipped cream. It actually has some different elements to it. So if you are into cooking desserts and you enjoy fun recipes like this, I recommend picking this up. This is actually one of the simpler recipes in this book, so I probably will make some attempts in future videos. It is actually much more complex with more interesting ingredients than a lot of these other pop culture type cookbooks. So have a happy Thanksgiving. If you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.